Coming up on the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast, one of Indiana's tech leaders introduces us to his new company. We spotlight a drone service business. Trendiana looks at ways to de-stress over the holidays. Plans are underway for a big behavioral health hospital. A youth academy details its quasi-military format. And a special edition of The Insiders focusing on agbiosciences. Welcome to the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast. I'm Andy Ober. Indianapolis-based venture studio High Alpha has launched its newest company. Indy tech vet Scott McCorkle has co-founded MetaCX, a software-as-a-service platform that helps companies manage their other software-as-a-service providers. McCorkle joined Inside Indiana Business host Gary Dick to talk about the company and the important source of its $14 million in funding.
You've been doing software as a service for a long time, and you say that this software, this is the software you've always wanted.
It really is. Since 1999, hard to believe. We didn't call it SaaS then. And I have always wanted to know, are my customers who are in my product, the beautiful thing about SaaS is here's our product sitting on the internet, customers access it directly, there's no shipping CDs or containers, and my customers are in my product on the internet. Are they achieving the milestones they should achieve to be successful? We don't know. How do I keep track of all the outcomes my customers expect from my software? And are they achieving those outcomes? And how do I collaborate to help? And I want that collaboration to be in my product because that's where all the value is happening. That's what I've always wanted, and that's what we're building.
This is MetaCX, the 11th startup to spin out of High Alpha, the venture studio that is so successful, doing so many great things here in Indianapolis. Talk about the business model for MetaCX, what it's all about.
Yeah, we have thought really from the beginning of our idea that it's a two-sided coin. SaaS. It's not just making the supplier of the product effective, but how does the buyer, the customer of the SaaS product, how do they achieve the outcomes they expect? And I think we're in a transitionary period where all the buyers, the enterprises, the businesses in the world who buy SaaS products, they're looking for that next increase in value. So we want to bring both parties together in one collaborative space to share in the outcome definition and attainment.
A lot of people think this is a great idea. You raised $14 million in funding, led by Upfront Ventures, an early-stage VC firm in Los Angeles. Significant, I think, that folks outside of Indiana are looking at this idea and say this is some cool innovation.
Well, what's important for our ecosystem, which is really seeing tremendous momentum and growth, is that we are part of a broader set of innovation centers. We want our innovation center to be successful and have great companies, but it exists alongside all the other innovation centers in our country and world. So we need capital local, we need capital national. And for MetaCX to attract LA-based capital, this phase of our execution is significant. And I think it speaks to not just the value we're creating, but eyes are on Indy.
Yeah, and you talk about eyes on Indy, whether it's High Alpha or some of the other success stories that have happened and continue to happen. Now your new company, that momentum tends to attract and success stories tend to attract that attention.
It sure does. I mean, things add on top of each other. There's placeholders where people remember, there's been a couple company launches here, aren't there? And there are moments of success like an ExactTarget that then creates a High Alpha, and you just have teams with experience and expectations of then accomplishing even more in the future, and that adds up, plus all these networks of connectivity. ExactTarget was operating on a global stage, and those relationships just don't go away. They're still there, and then can help feed this next generation of companies.
As you look at the potential for MetaCX, and you're going to launch right after the first of the year, what's the potential that you see for the company?
Oh, it's huge. We are humble Midwesterners, so first things first, we are still bringing our product to market. We have those first few customers coming on board, and we'll have more come online here in the first of the year. But we really think we have an idea that speaks to the foundation of what it means for a supplier of a digital product and a buyer of a digital product to be successful. And we live in a world that's been transformed digitally, and we think that this is something that would benefit many, many companies.
Could, in fact, be that next big success story in the Indiana technology story that continues to develop. Scott McCorkle, co-founder and CEO of MetaCX, thanks for joining us. We'll follow the story.
Gary, thank you.
All right.
Still to come, Smithville introduces its new president and ways to de-stress throughout the state over the holidays. But first, an airplane pilot that lost his job in the wake of 9/11 turned to the emerging industry of drones, launching Bird's Eye Video in Carmel. Since 2014, it has grown to 16 franchises nationwide. Founder Josh Kneifel came in studio to talk about the drone industry in Indiana and nationwide.
Okay, you started this venture in 2014. 3 people and a dream, as you say in some of the background here. Talk about the drone business, why you got into it, what you were seeing in that business that made you start Bird's Eye Video.
Sure. So back in 2014, I subscribed to Entrepreneur Magazine, and I read a small blurb. It was 2 or 3 sentences. It talked about this emerging technology, a drone. I'd never heard of it. I wasn't in the military, but I talked to my wife and said, hey, I'm going to pick up one of these just to see what it can do. And long story short, I started the business in 2014, did some marketing type promo videos for residential and commercial real estate contacts I had, and it just sort of morphed into a bigger animal. At that point in time, there were no regulations. Coming from the aviation world, I knew what the FAA was involved in terms of safety and focus on all of that. So I started the business and ultimately franchised it in 2015 as things grew.
Okay, talk about Bird's Eye Video, what it's all about, because you really focus on that, what I'll call the commercial market, big businesses in specific sectors.
Right. Yeah, so we, again, started the business both on the marketing side, residential and commercial. When the regulations opened the door for others to get into the industry, we quickly turned more towards the industrial focus. So right now we're looking at energy, which encompasses oil and gas, solar, wind and power, commercial real estate, telecom, which is cell towers, and agriculture. So those are the 4 focuses. In my opinion, I would like to see us focus even more going forward.
Yeah. We'll talk about growth, because you've grown in markets with franchises around the country. You have an international presence as well.
Yep. Yeah. So we have 17 franchise locations right now. Some of those are in multiple markets, and then we have a partner down in Brazil and a business development partner out in the UK.
Talk about, as you look at this industry, which is changing so rapidly, give me your description of where you see the industry now and where you see it going in your space, in the commercial space, but also there are a lot of kind of one-off folks who are using drones.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, we spoke about that earlier. Yeah. So there are a lot of folks getting into the business, and it's grown tremendously. I think there was 60,000 commercial certified pilots in 2017 or 2016, and that's grown to over 120,000 now. So it's more than doubled. The FAA expects close to 400,000 by 2021. So it's just, tenfold, growth. And the industry, I think, is heading towards some consolidation, mergers and acquisitions for the larger players, and it's going to become more of not really focused on the drone, but I think the tool in the toolbox, the data acquisition and the value it brings to the clients.
And I want to bring that up because it's the video that's important, but data is a big part of obviously what you do and a number of other companies are focused on.
Exactly, yeah, huge piece of the business. I think ultimately the drone is the sexy tool today. It could be an airplane or a camera on a stick, as my partner Gordon Dowry says. So it's the matter of bringing that value to the client depending on what they need, and this is usually a more efficient or more cost-effective way to do it.
All right, lots changing in the world of drones around the country and around the world. Bird's Eye Video growing right here in Indiana and beyond. Josh Kneifel, thanks very much, and we'll look forward to following your story.
Thank you, Gary.
All right.
Later in the podcast, our Trendiana segment spotlights small businesses helping you de-stress, and the latest on a big behavioral health hospital project. But now, Ellettsville-based Smithville has introduced Paul Quick as its new president. He comes from Frontier Communications, where he led commercial sales in 9 states. Quick joined the show to talk about his vision for the telecommunications company.
Paul, welcome to the program. Welcome to Indiana as well.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's good to be here in the Hoosier State and great to learn more about this wonderful state, what it has to offer, and the people who live here. Yeah,
well, a lot going on. You come to Smithville from Frontier Communications. You were out in Connecticut, led 1,500 or so employees, multiple states. You had a lot of responsibilities. What attracted you to this opportunity at Smithville?
Just a tremendous opportunity. I got to tell you, I had a chance through the interviewing process to meet the ownership, Darby and Cullen McCarty, had an opportunity to meet with their board. And the thing that I liked right off the top was I really liked the people. and their integrity and what they talked about they stood for. And since I've come here to Indiana, all the things that I thought I saw in the interview process have turned out to be true. The other thing that I'm really excited about is the investment in product by Smithfield. Simply stated, we have fantastic product. We deliver tremendous speeds to all of our customers, and those speeds give them a reliable internet experience and reliable phone experience that they can truly count on and be delighted by.
As you look at opportunities, certainly the telecommunications business is rapidly changing and evolving. As you look at opportunities at Smithfield, where do you see them?
Well, there's a number of opportunities. I think we're going to continue to grow our fiber hoods like we've done in places like Jasper. But in addition to that, there are a number of small and medium businesses throughout our entire footprint where we think we can offer them a better product solution. We're going to give them a chance to see what Smithfield is all about, and we intend to be a formidable competitor.
Now, how about rural broadband is such a huge issue in many places, including Indiana. Certain areas of the state are just flat underserved. As you look at that rural broadband issue, do you see Smithfield playing a role?
Absolutely. I think we're very fortunate in the United States to have a United States government that's willing to make investments in rural broadband. Same thing here in the state of Indiana. They're willing to make investments in rural broadband. I think with a thoughtful plan around ways to reach rural communities, we can truly deliver great products. Not just ourselves, but a number of the companies throughout the region can deliver great products to the customers of this state.
What, in your view, is going to be key to solving this rural broadband issue? It's not an easy issue to tackle.
Sure.
What do you think are going to be some keys to making it happen?
Again, thoughtful investment, but time. It's not going to happen overnight. We're not going to reach everyone overnight. But with some thoughtful investment, placing money in the right places, some support from the federal government, state government, we believe that we can serve the customers of this state and give them a positive broadband experience.
As we wrap up, I only have about 20 seconds, but as you look at the outlook for Smithfield going forward, you've got the big vision and things you want to do. How do you look at the landscape continues to change? How do you look at the
It's a very competitive landscape. But great product always wins. And we believe we have some of the best product in the state, and we think that that's going to help us delight and win some consumers over to our brand.
All right. Paul Quick is the new president at Smithfield. Paul, great to have you on the show. Great to have you in Indiana as well. Look forward to following your story.
You bet. Thank you for your time.
Right.
Remember, you can catch Inside Indiana Business Television on stations throughout the state every weekend. Head to InsideIndianaBusiness.com to check listings. Still to come, a $25 million investment in behavioral health, and the Indiana National Guard details its youth academy. But first, holiday shopping and cold weather makes it easy to understand why many Hoosiers are feeling stressed this time of year. Fortunately, there are plenty of ways to de-stress and support local businesses at the same time. Yelp Indy Midwest Regional Director Brittany Smith spotlights some of them in this month's Trendiana segment.
So this whole stressful time during the holidays, which people talk about all the time, there are some businesses around the state that have kind of crafted this into kind of a business almost in and of itself.
Yeah, and it's a great way, when you're taking care of yourself, to also support a local business the same way you would during the holidays.
Yep. Okay. So you've got 5 ways to curb holiday stress and support local businesses at the same time. One is to explore a new to you holiday exhibit.
Yeah, and a great example of that is Miracle on South. This is a pop-up bar at the Platte 99 and Alexander Hotel downtown. So they've created this tent space that feels like you're walking into like a 1980s living room of your grandma's during the holidays. They've got old videos playing, a nostalgic, kitschy menu, so you can get their version of puppy chow along with a full menu of craft cocktails all set around the holidays. It's beautiful.
Great. And they have one of these up
yes,
in South Bend
up
as well?
in South Bend has another location for it. So there's actually 80 cities across the country that are doing this Miracle on South concept. This is the first year Indiana's had some.
Yeah, very cool. A massage. I mean,
yes.
that's kind of a traditional thing, but that can really be a de-stressor.
Yes, it's a natural way to do it. Indy Massage Company is the top-rated massage business in Central Indiana on Yelp. And the thing people really love about it is they have a loyalty card. So you can take care of yourself throughout the year, also get some nice little perks there. And they have so many massage therapists on site that it's very easy to schedule. So if you need one tomorrow, you can make it happen.
Gotcha. Okay, number 3 on the list is to take care of yourself.
Yes,
right?
yes. Simplicity Juice. So this business has exploded in the last few years. It's natural, pressed juices using Midwestern produce. You can find it at over 4 dozen Kroger and Market District locations throughout Indiana. So you can do a juice cleanse at home, or if you're feeling a little naughty, you can do it with a holiday cocktail. So it's a really fun business either way.
I like the later.
Yes.
The latter, yes.
More
the
Gary
latter.
style.
Okay, the weather can be a kind of a stressful thing, cold,
Yes.
wet, rainy, those types of things. But you're saying embracing the weather and getting outdoors.
Yes, yeah. Indiana has 25 state parks, and each of them have really fun ways that they're embracing the winter. So you can go to Pokagon up in Angola, do some tobogganing. You can also, go to the Indiana Indiana Dunes. I'm saying snow dunes in my head. Ice skating is a great option up there. Sledding on the dunes, and also they have great deals during the winter, 2 for 1 night. So you can stay overnight, make a whole weekend of it.
Yep. There's also a trendy term now. Is it hygge?
Hygge, yeah,
right?
hygge. Yes, it's actually a Danish term about embracing the winter months, coziness, really leaning into it versus viewing the winter as a bad thing. So Soak Your Soul is a great local business to tap into that. They have these bath soaks that are using natural ingredients. You can do a bath and really enjoy yourself, as well as using Traders Point Creamery, the chocolate milk. People love that from Zionsville. So just different ways to make it fun.
And in museums too.
Yes.
There's traditional museums that you may go to other times of the year. The holidays can be a really cool time to go.
So many of our museums are really tapping into the winter months, reinventing themselves to give you multiple reasons to visit throughout the year. A great example of that, Winter Lights at the Indianapolis Museum of Art. The Lily House is decorated from top to bottom with handmade decorations. It's truly stunning.
Awesome stuff. De-stressful things. I'm going to check them all out.
That's right. Enjoy yourself.
Brittany Smith, as always, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Later in the podcast, a look at the Indiana National Guard's quasi-military youth academy, and a look at Indiana Agbiosciences in a special insider segment. But now, Danville-based Hendricks Regional Health is partnering with U.S. Health Fest on a standalone behavioral center on the Hendricks campus in Plainfield. The Indianapolis Behavioral Hospital represents a $25 million investment. Hendricks Vice President Gary Everling updates the project with Kylie Valletta in the business of health.
Hendricks could have focused on anything, a cancer center or a heart hospital, but why did you choose mental health in particular?
Well, I think everybody knows the huge need with mental health, and it's a service that was desperately requested in our community. If you look at the state, the numbers are sobering and staggering. There's over 700,000 Hoosiers that struggle with mental health. Over half of those have a coexisting condition of substance abuse. The numbers that are even worse are there are about 150,000 Indiana residents who have considered suicide in the last 12 months, and even more alarming is, that really touches our heart, is among the Indiana high school students. About 1 out of 5 have considered suicide in the last 12 months, and so we've got to be a part of the solution to that, and we're proud to be so.
And we'll talk a little bit more about the medical side of things, but on the business side, you said it was a hard decision to give up about a quarter of the property on your Plainfield campus, leasing it to U.S. Health Fest. Why did Hendricks choose U.S. Health Fest in particular?
Right. Well, actually, U.S. Health Fest reached out to the Indiana Hospital Association and asked, if there were hospitals that they wanted to partner with. Obviously, their brand doesn't mean as much in this market. They're going to build that brand, but they wanted to be attached and partner with a hospital. And I met with their real estate folks, and make a long story short, we did a lot of due diligence on this organization. We did some background checks on the owner, on the organization. I talked to other hospital CEOs around the country that have partnered with them, and spotless reputation. I'd tell you the other thing that speaks volumes of U.S. Health Fest is that regardless of their patient's ability to pay, regardless of their age, or regardless of their condition, whether it's substance abuse or mental health, they accept everybody, and that fits really well with our mission.
And you mentioned some really huge numbers as far as Hoosiers that have a mental health condition. How does that translate into impacting the local economy for those people having someplace to go now for treatment?
Sure. Well, locally right now, people have to be transferred either to the south side of Indianapolis or on the east side of Indianapolis if they need inpatient care or intensive outpatient care. So that's significant in and of itself, just from a lifestyle standpoint and access to care. We have relationships and partnerships with over 450 employers in our market. Many of those employers provide health insurance. Most of them do. And much of that health insurance cost is related to mental health, where there's really not a really strong provider in that market that U.S. Health Vest can bring. And so that's going to be a huge impact, positive impact from a financial standpoint to those employers.
And we just have a few seconds left, but there is going to be some collaboration, even though U.S. Health Vest owns this hospital. Tell us a little bit about how you'll collaborate.
Yeah, so we've already talked to U.S. Health Vest. We met with their leadership, and they're going to work with a team to have their team in our emergency department in Danville and in Brownsburg to help with the transition of those patients. Let's get them taken care of from a medical standpoint, and then if they need mental health status, if they have a mental health status and need further care for that, then we can help that transition to that hospital. They'll also accept direct transfers from an ambulance standpoint as well. But we always, as a hospital, most hospitals receive many of those patients in their ER. So a lot of collaboration opportunity.
Well, Gary, thank you so much for being here. A very important topic.
Well, thank you.
Still to come, a special insiders panel looking at Indiana's agbiosciences sector. But first, the Indiana National Guard's Hoosier Youth Challenge Academy looks to help at-risk youth between 16 and 18 who have or could drop out of high school. The model uses a quasi-military format to provide positive leadership and discipline. Adjutant General for Indiana, Major General Courtney P. Carr, has more in our Eye on Education segment.
Let's talk about the Hoosier Youth Challenge Academy. It really is part of a national program, these Youth Challenge Academies around the country. But this here in Indiana is in Knightstown, Indiana, at the old Soldiers and Sailors Home, right?
That's correct. And we started the program in 2007 at Camp Atterbury, and then relocated it to Knightstown, Indiana, at the Soldiers and Sailors Children's Home, which was, that facility was vacant at the time. And we moved the Youth Challenge program there, and it's just a great location, very historic.
Yeah, great program to go into that historic facility. Talk about the Hoosier Youth Challenge Academy. The Indiana National Guard does so many things that people, I don't think, realize what you do in economic development and other areas, but this Hoosier Youth Challenge Academy is really making a difference.
You know, so the National Guard is a community-based organization, and this is a way that the National Guard can work with communities to make a difference for young people in the state. And so this program, we run 2 programs a year, or 2 classes a year. They're 5.5-month resident, broken into 2 phases, and 2-week acclimation phase, very structured and disciplined, as you mentioned. And then the predominance of it is academic, life skills, service to community, focused, confidence building, developing a life plan over those last 5 months, followed by a 12-month non-resident mentorship period where they continue to work with a mentor towards the accomplishment of their life plan. And
this is really instilling that military discipline and structure and those types of things into really at-risk young people, 16 to 18-year-olds.
Gary, that's right. You know, the statistics would say that there's a 350% greater risk of incarceration for young men and women that don't have a high school diploma. And 68% of incarcerated males don't have a high school diploma. So the facts kind of suggest that the odds are stacked against you if you don't have a high school diploma. And so this program allows young men and women that second chance that you talked about to get life skills, discipline, structure, and their high school equivalency. 62% of the participants in this program get their high school equivalency during the program.
Wow. And the numbers do kind of tell the story. $855,000 in scholarship money awarded. So this is putting these young people at risk on a path to really contribute to the workforce.
Yes, sir. 30% of the kids will graduate with some amount of college credit through Ivy Tech and courses that are taught at Knightstown and Youth Challenge Academy. But then there's Ivy Tech and Lincoln Tech both give scholarships in large dollars amounts for kids to continue their education, and several will go on to college. Some go into trade schools, but every one of these young men and women graduate with a life plan of what they're going to accomplish.
And I know as we wrap up, you're getting ready to graduate another class, I think, in another week or
Yeah,
so.
their graduation banquet is Thursday, and graduation is Saturday the 15th.
Yeah, and that's got to be a pretty prideful moment, a pretty neat moment.
It's standing room only in the Greenfield High School auditorium.
Major General Courtney Carr, the Hoosier Youth Challenge Academy in Knightstown. Really a cool story and really making a difference. Thanks for sharing it with us, and we'll be following the story.
Thank you.
All right.
And finally this week, the state's agbioscience sector has been on a roll this year, and many opportunities and challenges lie ahead. Our special Insiders panel this week includes Agronovus President and CEO Beth Bechdahl, Corteva Agriscience President of Crop Protection Business Platform Suzanne Wasson, and Wabash Heartland Innovation Network CEO Johnny Park.
A special Insiders focused on, Beth, a sector of the economy that really is gaining in momentum. As you look at the things going on well, first of all, ag bioscience. When you talk about ag bioscience, give us, for folks who might not know, give us the definition.
Sure. We simply say that the ag biosciences are the sector where food, agriculture, science, and technology all converge. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes we'll put plus signs. People will see that in our materials. We'll put plus signs in the middle of the words to show that it is modern 21st century production agriculture meets biology, the life sciences, pharma and human health, meets science and technology.
Talk about what's fueling in some of this momentum, because Indiana has become in focus in this sector.
It has, and a big part of that, Gary, is being able to promote the things that many of us long knew that we already had as far as food and agricultural technology assets. When I think about the global innovators like Corteva, Elanco Animal Health, Beck's Hybrids, United Animal Health, the institutions that are here, Purdue, Ivy Tech, Huntington, there's so much that was already happening that I think the formation of Agronovus to really sort of build out the ecosystem to both amplify the story that is already taking place in Indiana, keep building upon it, but bring more of the connections and partnerships together around this innovation space were really sort of the most critical pieces.
Beth mentioned Corteva as a new name on the scene, but really a global presence. Talk about Corteva, the result of a merger, and we're going to be hearing a lot more about that company locally.
Absolutely. So Corteva Agriscience has a global business center here in Indianapolis, and we're so pleased to be part of the state of Indiana and all the exciting things that are happening here. And one of the reasons that we are excited, if you think about the ecosystem, there are multinational companies, there are startups that are here, the public education institutions, like Beth mentioned, both Purdue and Ivy Tech, and then we have both farmers and livestock producers right out our back door. And it truly is the crossroads of ag bioscience. If you think about the future and about our ability to innovate, technology is changing so fast, and the opportunity to have all of those folks around the table and to collaborate, which we think is the future as technology changes, Agronovus is the perfect conduit to bring that all together.
I want to ask you about talent in a minute, because that's a big piece of this. But Johnny, you're the CEO, the head of the Wabash Heartland Innovation Network, which is a regional collaboration, 10 counties, I think, up in the Lafayette, West Lafayette area. Talk about your focus, because precision agriculture is part of it, right?
Yeah. So WIN is a 10-county consortium in north central Indiana. Our ambitious goal is to develop the region into the global leader of digital agriculture and next-generation manufacturing, really by harnessing the power of IoT, the internet-enabled sensors. And we believe that's really a key to enable the success and build the ecosystem to attract new talents, new companies in the region.
And you come at this from real experience, because you launched and ultimately sold a company, at Purdue University, Spensa Technologies, which was acquired. As you look at it from the business standpoint, why does it make sense for Indiana to put a lot of focus on this and really get behind this? What's the opportunity for success?
Well, so if you think about Indiana, we have key assets, as Beth mentioned, Purdue University being the only university in the nation with top 10 College of Ag and top 10 College of Engineering. a wonderful asset that we have. In our backyard, we have wonderful industry sectors, Corteva, Elanco, wonderful agribusinesses, and we have this really progressive state leaders who see the importance of building this ecosystem together and reaching out to community. So I think it's all those things combined, it's a ripe for wonderful environment for startups to thrive and build upon.
What's in terms of challenges, Beth? Everybody, it's not just the ag bioscience, manufacturing, you name it, it's talent.
Yeah.
And I know that's a key issue for in this sector as well. How do you look at that whole talent situation?
Well, so I think one of the things that we see as our next big focus is making sure that we get more young people to think about careers in the ag biosciences. So you just heard Purdue and Ivy Tech mentioned here among the three of us, but I'm now spending more of my time thinking about IUPUI, Notre Dame, Rose-Hulman, Butler, because there are tremendous studies, areas of discipline that those students are coming out immensely well prepared for, whether it's informatics, business and finance, robotics, data sciences, that are perfectly situated and actually important needs now, growing needs in the sort of employment and recruitment area for the ag biosciences.
Yeah. And Suzanne, I know you are actively involved with the National FFA organization, the Blue Room, which was really focused on, again, educating young people about the cool careers in the ag biosciences. That's critical to the success of companies like Corteva and the others we mentioned.
Absolutely, because the industry has a shortage of employees to fill roles today. And when we partnered with Agronovus and Microsoft, along with a lot of other companies, to bring the Blue Room to the National FFA convention just a few weeks ago, the main objective of that was to showcase technology, because farming and livestock production are high-tech industries. We use data, we use technology every day, and I don't think the average student really understands that. And it's really to open their minds when they're in high school to the opportunities for employment, and then that may help them as they're making decisions for higher education.
Do you think the Blue Room, do you think that, we're looking at some of the cool video from that event, is making some initial inroads?
I think students were overwhelmed by the opportunity to sit on a couch and watch a TED-like talk, and to be able to touch an iPad and see computer technology in farming, or look at drones making pictures of farm fields, and trying to understand how that data gets collected to make decisions for farmers. So I feel absolutely it really opened their eyes, and although there was a small number of students that got to go through the Blue Room, the Blue Room is actually Blue Room 365, so they're taking all of that information, all of those talks, and making that available to agriculture educators for lesson plans throughout the year.
Yeah. As we wrap up, Beth, talk about opening eyes. Indiana's getting a lot of national attention. The Forbes Ag Bioscience Summit that was here, first time outside of California. So talk a little bit about that. We were talking about things here in Indiana, great, but people outside are beginning to notice.
Absolutely, and these two partners of ours can speak to some of these as well in our last seconds here. But you mentioned Forbes. Suzanne mentioned this partnership with Microsoft. We just announced last week a new partnership with a Silicon Valley venture firm, SVG Partners, Thrive, to put a new accelerator program here in the Midwest. So the relationships that we've been able to build, we've been able to travel with Governor Holcomb to Israel, focusing on sort of ag tech startup opportunities across the world, and to have Indiana partners and Indiana ag bioscience leaders, and to have Agronovus help facilitate that, to your point, has put us on a global stage that I don't know that we would have anticipated being on.
Lots of excitement and new companies coming to the state, Talpolina, Solymph Tech, another company going to the Purdue Research Park as well. So lots of momentum. We'll have you all back to talk more about it, because there's a lot more that will be going on. Beth Bechtel, also Suzanne Wasson, and Johnny Park. Thanks one and all for being here.
That wraps up this week's Inside Indiana Business Television podcast. Remember, you can find all of this week's TV segments, as well as the top business news from throughout the state, at InsideIndianaBusiness.com. While you're there, you can also subscribe to our platform of free e-newsletters. This is Andy Ober for Inside Indiana Business.